All right. I think we're online. Got some people here. What is up, my friends? How's everybody doing? Just get the housekeeping out of the way. Gonna do a little lag check in a second to make sure I know what's up. All right, let's cut that music and go into, whoa. Something's going wrong here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Almost doubled my music there for some reason. Somehow. All right. I was going to turn on heavy rain, but, well, there was some heavy rain happening just outside the window here a minute ago, and it seems like it's mostly subsided, which is nice. Let's see who we got here. Lisa, Adolph Manson, Nino Brown, Alex, John Paul, Jessica, Master Panda, Myreed, Hesketh, Jerry. I remember those names. Hey, Mad Mike, my man, what's up? The Scarecast in the house. Casual Conversations, I believe that's Gina, Sleepy, and Sans Serif. Hello there, my friends. Good to see all you guys here. Such short notice, as always. You guys know the drill at this point. Yeah, nice to have you all here. Mr. Dan and Harry, hello there, my friend. Seen you around before. I'm going to move this over here so I'm not like looking away from the camera all the time. Here we go. Move that right here. All right, so it's been a couple weeks since I jumped online and did a live stream. I'm going to record some stories tonight. Yeah, thank you guys. Hey, Timothy Duran, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Everybody leave a like as you come in. If you're only here for a couple minutes, that's fine. Leave a like and show me a little bit of love. That'll be much appreciated. It looks like almost everybody's liked so far. That's awesome. But Hudson 44, P Hudson, whatever it is, clarify, please. Hello there. Jennifer, I don't know if I saw you, Jennifer. Hello. All right. Got a few people in here. Like I said, I got 4 stories. I'm going to record them. They're going to sound totally different by the time they come out sometime in the middle of this month or next month. And going to have nice sound effects and all that extra stuff in there, ambient music and all that cool stuff. So look, you guys, hope you look forward to that. Let's see here. Somebody asked me a question. Mr. X, nice background. Thank you. I did this little upgrade a couple weeks ago. Glad everybody's been liking it so far. Gina asks, is there new merch? It's not new. This is actually an old design that just nobody seemed to enjoy. I liked it, so I figured I'd wear it today. Yeah. Scarecast Mike says, nice setup. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Just that this little double light strip thing I put in just added a little bit. It's been laying around my house for like a couple of years now, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can throw that up there in the studio and make it look cool. All right. I'm going to get started in just a little bit. Yeah, these are, Mike, these are sound, I mean, they're not really soundproof per se, but it does help absorb and kind of dissipate the sound that comes in from outside around the house and outside the door or outside on the other side of the wall and all that. Yeah, I dig it. It's just a little nook. This is actually just a really small cutout in one of the rooms in my house. I don't know why they even built this little space, but I use it to great effect, I'd like to think. All right, let's see here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do a test, lag test. All right, because there's something weird about this setup with the streams that before I get into the stories, because there's so much interaction and I'm gonna be talking back and forth and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna see what the lag is. So I'm gonna count from 3 to 0, and when I hit 0, I want you all to type the number 0 in the chat. All right? 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, that's not bad. That's pretty good. All right. So we only got about 4 or 5 seconds lag. Thanks a lot for that, guys. You're good. There always comes in like 100 more numbers than like once I get it. It takes a few seconds for you guys to realize that I already got it. All right. All right, Mike. Hey, good luck on that midterm, brother. Dark Phoenix, hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Who else we got here? Christy Hill. Yeah, hello there. All right, so what I got for you all tonight, 4 stories. 2 of them related to glitch in the Matrix type stuff, and 2 of them are actually related to cryptids. So got a bit of a mix here. I always try to have more than one type of story per night because all these stories are going to come out as individual uploads later on in the month or the next month or so. And I can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Plus, it gives us a little bit of variety to talk about. So if you haven't been to one of these types of streams before, if you weren't here last month when I did it, how it works is I'm going to be reading these, and afterwards I'm going to kind of take some comments from you all. So if something pops up in your head while I'm reading, kind of try to save it towards the end of the story, because at the end of the story I'm going to actually go in and copy down some of your comments so that I can read them and discuss them as part of the video when it comes out. So there's that. So, if you have anything cool or anything to add or anything, questions or anything you wanted to come up with or to add to the conversation, you can put that in like towards the end of the story, and we'll discuss it. And that will actually be a part of the video, and I'll read your name and everything like that. And so there's that. And then also another thing I'm doing is any super chat that comes in during this live stream, you will be added as a sponsor for the videos that come from this. So when I release the video after the fact, when it's all produced with sound effects and all that and the music, I got a little bit at the end of my videos now that show the names, and I read out the names of the sponsors, which is anybody who leaves a super chat donation during the stream. So if you want to do a super chat, any amount, whatever it is, you don't have to if you don't want to, or if you don't have any cash laying around, a couple of dollars, whatever, don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. I'm doing these either way. Just depends on, how many sponsors I list at the end of the video and how many people want to contribute or help out or whatever. It's pretty motivating though when that happens, and I always appreciate it. All right, so let's see. First story I'm going to do tonight, I think it's going to be, I'm going to get one of the longer ones out of the way first. It's a cryptid, not cryptid. It's a glitch in the Matrix story. I'm just going to top up my water a little bit before I start reading, because this is it's a little long. Some of you old school dreamers might have heard a version of this story before, because it is one of the ones that I'm kind of remastering. I went in and rewrote it a little bit, and I'm going to be kind of reproducing it with the new sound quality and the new types of the new equipment and everything that I got. And yeah, it'll be like that. Brenda, hello there, my friend, and Sergeant Mo. Good evening to you both, and everybody who's in attendance tonight. All right, so we're going to get into this first story in just a moment. Yeah, you guys don't hear any rain or anything, do you? Because if you don't, I might add in some rain for the background in case anybody's trying to go to sleep right now. Ellie, thank you for the super chat, my friend. I'm going to add that to my sponsor list already. Getting started strong, folks. I like that. I appreciate that. All right. So I'm going to put in a little bit of heavy rain in the background for us. Where did I put that thing there? All right. How's that sound? Yeah, you're gonna see me do a couple of administrative actions once in a while I'm here doing this stuff. This is the raw, unedited, uncut version of the Mr. X Dreams show. Let's see, sponsors. 0410-2021. You guys are awesome. I just saw another super chat come in. Let's see here. We got one from Ellie. Paste that in there. Pahudson. Is that how you pronounce your name? Pahudson, or is it P. Hudson? I'm not sure. You got to let me know because I'm going to read your name in the sponsor section at the end of the videos that come out later on. So please let me know so I can notate that. All right, we're going to get started momentarily here. I'm just setting this up. Totally forgot to set up the whole thing. Pete Hudson. Okay, Pete Hudson. I'm going to put that in there. Pete Hudson. 44. Brian's World, what's up, my friend? Tony 2 Metal, hey, man. Good to see you, man. Yeah, this rain sounds a little bit loud in my ears. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There you go. Yeah, it sounds better to me. Can't have these sound effects overtake what we got going on here. All right. Let's switch over to story mode, and we'll get into this. Hope nobody's asleep yet. Imagine staring down the headlights of an oncoming vehicle, bracing yourself for a head-on collision. I've been there, and I can tell you it's no fun. But what if you had the power to remove yourself from that moment at the very last second, to escape into another reality to save your own life? Could such a thing be possible? Listen to this story, and let me know what you think the truth really is. A warning to any of those viewers who might find mental health issues disturbing. This story deals with that quite a bit. Dear Mr. X, my name is Teresa. I'm 49 years old. I've heard some of your stories about glitches in the Matrix. The story about how your dad was shot. It was pretty crazy. However, the account of your friend in the military, the one who inexplicably missed a chunk of time, was a special one for me. I was particularly keen on that one because it was my first time hearing a story I could identify with. That kind of thing has happened to me on many occasions throughout my whole life. When I was a child, I experienced missing time very often. In fact, and I know it may sound crazy, I believe I had the ability to consciously control how and when I missed time. I used to think of it as a sort of daydreaming. Wherever I was, I could always take a trip to this other place, where everything and everyone was different, and play there for a while. While I was there, I guess my physical body was on autopilot or something. I really didn't know or care what was going on with it, to be honest. Whenever I was ready, I would simply drop back into my original reality in the middle of whatever happened to be going on. One time, I came back to my body and heard my dad yelling frantically. He was telling me to come back onto the sidewalk. When I looked around, I suddenly realized I was standing in the middle of a somewhat busy street. That was the last time I checked out of this reality on purpose. As the years went by, I noticed that my control over this ability has waned. It still happens once in a while, but seemingly more as a reflex. Recently, I was driving home from a friend's house. During the ride, I noticed my phone had fallen onto the floor in front of the passenger seat of my car. Thinking I could grab it quickly, I reached for it. I realized that was a terrible idea, but I've got to be honest, that's what I did. As soon as I got a hold of it, I felt my tires drifting to the right and onto the gravel past the shoulder of the road, prompting me to yank the steering wheel back the other way. Unfortunately, I overcorrected and ended up crossing the dividing line. My car sailed straight into the other lane. As I lifted my head and tried to regain control, my eyes were nearly blinded by the headlights of an oncoming vehicle. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in my own bed to the sight of my young niece asking me what happened. I glanced over at the clock and saw that it was 11:30 p.m. I quickly sat up and realized that I was fully dressed in my pajamas, which I normally only wear in wintertime. I walked out into the living room to find all my things in disarray. Pillows, papers, and rugs all seemed to have been blown to one side of the room. I slowly began to remember what happened before I woke up. I went into the garage to check my car, thinking I was, or should have been, in a car accident. I wiped my finger across the hood. It was thick with dust, which was not how I last saw it. Even stranger, there wasn't a scratch on the body that wasn't there before. Believe it or not, it gets even weirder. I turned the garage light on, and I could see that the inside of the car was covered with hundreds of dead leaves. I never did figure out what happened to me that night. Some people describe these events as glitches in the Matrix, but sometimes I feel like I myself am a glitch. I've never felt like this world was my home. I feel like an alien or a misplaced, unwelcome presence here. I can never be sure or trust that my experiences are genuine, that they aren't some sort of manufactured presentation put on by some outside force. Even my birth into this world is a mystery. I never knew my true parents because I was adopted at 16 months old. I never spoke a single word until I was 4. I remember trying hard to communicate my thoughts directly and being disappointed that no one could hear me. My adopted family actually thought I was either deaf or mute. I knew something was wrong with me when I began going to school. I would escape from this reality, this place I didn't believe in, every chance I got. I coped with what I perceived to be my hostile, unfamiliar surroundings by escaping into that other world. It took me until the age of 10 before I tried to finally... It took me till the age... Oh my goodness. It took me until the age of 10 before I finally tried abandoning the idea that I didn't belong here. That the experience, the existence I was meant for was out of my reach. I decided to try assimilating into the world I had in front of me, even if it was a lie. I dropped out of school at 16 to get a job. I tried moving from one religion to the next, searching for some semblance of meaning, only to find disappointment and ulterior motives. I ended up meeting a man, fell in love, got married, and had a child. As soon as I found out about my pregnancy, I actually knew it was a girl. When I gave birth, I had no pain at all, even without any drugs. The doctor laughed and said not to bother coming to the hospital next time. For the next 12 years, I slowly forgot my past life. I watched my daughter grow into a beautiful young woman and enjoyed a wonderful life with my husband. That is, until one beautiful Sunday morning, he took his own life right in front of me. Whatever his reasons were, he took them with him to his grave. That day, my so-called matrix finally fell apart. Its pieces shattered and fell around me in sharp, jagged shards. Left behind was the framework I had always known in my youth, full of the dark truths I struggled to forget over the years. My daughter and I went to stay with friends, and once again I slowly began to lose touch with this reality. I became like a husk, shuffling through every day with no will or drive, an empty vessel devoid of soul and spirit. I felt like I was being punished for letting myself get too attached to this world, a place where I was never truly meant to exist in the first place. The stress caused me physical pain, and I realized it was the first pain I had ever felt in my entire life. Until that time, pain was a foreign concept to me. Being without pain was so normal that I never fathomed or understood the idea of it. The feeling of pain was so overwhelming that one day I laid down on my bed and began pondering ways to end my own life. As I laid there, I could feel my mind reaching out to the other place again, just like old times. It started with a tiny vibration in my forehead that escalated until it felt as if my skull would crack under the pressure. Fully awake, I ascended into a dark tunnel. I could feel the sensation of my body falling as my mind flew up into a black sky. I was so close to making it back to my home when the thought of my daughter entered my mind, snapping me back to earth. I thought about her and how young she was. She was almost 14. I knew I only had a few years left to make a difference in her life before she went out and to forge her own path. I knew I only had a few years to make a difference in her life before she went out into the world to forge her own path. This world may not have been mine, but it was hers. I couldn't leave her to face the world alone. She wasn't ready. I did fairly well with her as my focus until she went away for college. The feeling that my job here was done came back to me that very night, like I was again without a place in this world. Not long after that, I was diagnosed with a serious medical condition that put me in the hospital for over 6 weeks. After a series of disastrous complications, somehow, I survived. Suffice to say that no matter how disconnected I feel from this world, no matter how much I'd rather leave it, I just keep surviving. Anyway, I know there's not much anyone can do to change how strange my life has been, but it's nice to be able to share my story. Thanks for listening. Sincerely, Teresa. All right, so now's the time I'm going to say a few of my thoughts. And then as I'm talking, you all can feel free to add in your comments into the chat. And if there's anything you want to add or if you identify with this story, it's a very deep, touching story to me. If you identify with the story, or if you feel like you've got something to add, a comment or question or something like that, go ahead and type it now while I'm reading my thoughts, and then I'll copy down all the stuff that you guys had to say, and we'll discuss that as well. So, hey there, my friends, Mr. X Dreams here. So, this is a very heavy story with some expansive implications. As I'm sure you would guess, I have a few theories as far as the glitchiness of it all. We'll start with the mundane before we explore the supernatural ideas. So the idea of escapism can be defined as the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. This situation, the plight of our friend Teresa, it could be explained by simply zoning out into an imaginary world. That remains the most likely and the most plausible explanation, but, that's not quite how we operate here on my show. So hear me out. It might be a bit far-fetched, but imagine a human body appearing and displacing the air inside of a room proportionate to their body mass, instantly. I wonder if I'm not a scientist or anything, but I wonder if that event would cause a burst of air that can blow household items across a room. I'm not going to do the math, but it is fun to think about. And that's in reference to the part of the story where she was in the middle of this terrible situation, about to be hit head-on by an oncoming vehicle, and then she blacks out, wakes up in her room with everything in disarray. Unfortunately, this hypothesis doesn't explain the dead leaves that filled her car and the fact that it looked like her car hadn't been driven in probably years, with a thick coat of dust on there that wasn't there before. Or who knows, maybe she just switched over into another dimension in order to escape her death, something that has happened to me in my dreams a few times. Yeah, not to mention what must have happened to get her from, okay, I already said that. Never mind. Sorry. All right, so I can't say I believe in destiny or external purpose even, but a story like this, a woman who feels so out of place and would gladly welcome the embrace of death, yet she seems impossibly resilient and almost bound to this world, this realm. It makes me wonder if some people are indeed here for a specific reason. Another thing that struck a chord with me was her saying that she knew her young daughter was not ready to face the world without her. Most of us who grew up with loving mothers can probably attest that we're never truly ready to go on without them. The sad fact is, sometimes it just happens, and we have no choice but to deal with it. And here comes the rain. Moments of life, loss, love, were the only things that connected Teresa to this world. She felt herself like a living, breathing glitch in the matrix. And I often wonder, Are there really people and things misplaced among the countless layers of reality? Could it be that some of us belong to the dimension next door, where the world is just different enough to make one feel at home? If you are among those who feel that sense of misplacement, my friend, I can say only this. You are here with us, and we are in this together. Remember that regardless of how the world treats you, I believe in you. I believe you have the potential for great things. If you put your mind to it, you can find a purpose for yourself. You're more capable of that than you think. By the way, I reached out to Tammy to see how she's been doing, and she sent me this story about 4 years ago. I've since heard back from her. She's doing great. So no need to worry about her. Wait a minute, did I say Tammy? This is Teresa, isn't it? Hold on. Yeah, this is Teresa. Okay, let me start that part over. By the way, I reached out to Teresa to see how she's been doing, because she sent me this story about 4 years ago, and I haven't heard from her since. But she did respond, and she said that she and her daughter are doing great, so no need to worry about her. She's doing fine. Anyway, let's see what insights can be found in the live chat section. If you want to get involved and maybe even be a part of a future video, turn on your notifications so you catch me live reading these stories before I post the videos. So, my questions to you. What do you think about the exploded bedroom? What about the car full of leaves? That's crazy to me. How do you think she avoided the head-on collision? Let's see what the dreamers had to say. All right, first of all, let's see. I got some super chats here. Lori Long, you were a sponsor last time as well. Thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate you very much. And Artie Facial, hello there, my friend. I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Let's see, I'll read your guys' comments momentarily. Just gonna paste that in so that I don't forget to add it later. Lori Long, keep up the amazing work. So glad to see you here and creating again. I'll come back on camera for this. Yeah, it's nice to be back and creating again. I'm having fun. You all seem like you're having fun. Hello there, Cindy, Blue Silver. Good to see you all, my friends. All right. Artie Facial says, Mr. X, love your storytelling. Glad to see new updates here. I'm glad to see you here, my friend. Thanks for being here. I know you guys didn't hear that burp there just now. I ate a bunch of cauliflower or something earlier. That's my bad. Yeah, thought-provoking indeed. All right, so Pete Hudson had a comment here. I'm going to add that in there, and we will discuss it as soon as I get anything else. Blue Silver, you had a friend named Tammy, right? Okay. I hope your friend Tammy isn't as misplaced as this Teresa over here. I don't know. I think I was writing another story at the same time as this with someone named Tammy, so I kind of I might have mixed up the names there for a second, but I got it straightened out. Let's see. Blue Silver. That's an interesting comment. I'm going to add that in here. See, you all are behind the scenes right now, so you get to see what the whole process of making these videos. Oh my goodness, Master Panda. And remember, any super chats whatsoever, even if it's, I don't even know if you could do 50 cents, but whatever it is, you're a sponsor. But you all are awesome. Thank you so much. Master Panda, been with you since the beginning, and you've never disappointed. Thank you for everything you do. I'm so thankful for the people that watched me come from when I was on this little broken microphone right here. It's a Zoom H1. They don't make these anymore. There's like a better version of it now. This is the first recording device that I used for my channel early on. And no shade against Zoom microphones, but this particular one didn't sound that good. It didn't sound that good. And I was in there, that's what I had, and I did the best I could. And y'all were listening to me back then. Now this microphone that I have it's much better to me. This is pretty much as good as it's going to get for me, what I'm willing to put out there for this. And I love the sound of this one. But yeah, if you've been around since these days, hey, props to you. This thing did not survive the years of toll that I put on it, but it did the best it could. It was working hard. All right, let's see. Wow, Cindy, you're saying, okay, that's intense. And yeah, and I gotta say this during the video. People shouldn't be afraid to go to get some therapy. Find someone to talk to if you have to. I gotta make sure I say that during the recording. All right, so I'm gonna go back now to actually read these comments. Thank you guys for commenting and giving me a little bit extra stuff to talk about for this story. Okay, wait a minute. I think. Okay, I'm sorry, Lori. I missed this one that you put in. I'm gonna get that there. That's a good one to talk about as well. Oh, Blue Silver said you'll be 49 next month. Hey, you're making it. You're making it so far. It's either you turn 49 or you know what happens if you don't. So I'm happy to hear it. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start recording again, and we will talk about these things. Wait a minute. Blue Silver, what'd you say here? Okay. Oh. Thanks a lot, Alex. I appreciate you, man. Another super chat. Gotta support the work, is what Alex has to say. I appreciate you, brother. Dark Phoenix, I believe. Okay. All right. Got a couple more good comments. The more comments, like meaningful comments for these, the better, because it gives me an opportunity to have you guys be a part of my videos in the future, where and people will see that this is about us. This is about a conversation and a discussion, and I like the interaction with you guys. And I'm the one who's yammering, not you, Blue Silver. Rooster Cogburn, hello there, my friend. And that's a heart and a dab. Thank you for those. All right, so here we go. All right, so got a lot of dreamer comments here. Blue Silver asks, is there a support group for inexplicable existential fish out of water? I honestly, I don't know. And I don't know if it's a big enough or a widespread enough issue out there that there's a demand for it. Maybe if, 1 out of 100 people were feeling like they belong in another dimension or another world, there probably would be a support group for that. But what I do know is that there are a lot of people that can help out there if you are having some kind of struggles with your existence and your place in the world. There's lots of people to help with that. I would prefer someone who's more of the scientific ilk for such a thing. I don't really like people getting their religion-based ideologies and forcing that into the person's mind, because those things can only go but so far before, sometimes they could fall apart. And if that's what you're relying on and it falls apart, then your whole foundation can get messed up. So people shouldn't be afraid to seek help and seek therapy, mental health therapy, if needed. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just part of being a human being right now. There was a time where there was no such thing, and people just said, hey, either suck it up or, suck it up. It is what it is. But now there are actually avenues for people to get help. And I hope that anyone who needs it does get it, if you have access to it. Cindy S. says, that's good to know. I've been there. My child was the only reason I kept living. Cindy, you got to give me a little bit more information there. I hope that you realize, regardless of whether you have a child, you have worth, and you can have your own purpose. You can decide on a purpose for yourself. It's one that you see as a good enough reason to get up out of bed every morning. And if you don't have one, I guarantee you can find one. You just got to look, and you just got to try. Lori Long says, I love this story. Do you think this is a glitch or something like dissociative depression? Yeah, I always try to kind of look at both sides of the coin, especially when it's something cerebral like this. It's not, a faceless, melted humanoid who was 9 feet tall, came out of the bushes and chased me. That could be a mental thing as well. But when it comes to these things that are really self-contained within a person's mind, it's always a possibility that it's not something extraordinary. It's just something normal that a lot of people go through, like dissociative depression, for example. And like I said, if you need help, I really hope that you're in a position where you can get the help that you need, and don't feel any kind of way about getting it. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. I think I accidentally muted myself. So the last thing I said was, and I'm not, okay, hold on a second. When the rest of the video comes out, you'll hear me responding to some of your other comments, whichever ones, I'm not sure of how many that I lost there. But one thing I need to say now is, I read Pete Hudson's comment saying that he lost a brother to suicide recently, and I was just saying I'm very sorry to hear that. I wish your family the best. I hope that you all are healing from that devastating loss. And man, that's heavy, man. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're lifting other people up, even in the midst of your loss. That's very admirable, and I respect you for that. So, thanks for being who you are, Pete. Oh, Lori Long, another super chat just to tell me my mic dropped, no audio. Thank you. I'm sorry about that, guys. I see everybody was saying muted. Man, I hope, I don't know when that was. It must have been, okay, it was after the religion thing. All right. Yeah, I like these stories that, the stories that really, hold on. I really enjoy stories that have no definitive, easy explanation that we can just sort of look at and think about and discuss hypothetically and challenge our minds and everything endlessly, really. That's, to me, what makes an interesting story that's really worth telling on this channel. And I'm glad that you all are here and experiencing this with me. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. So, before we get out of here, I need you guys to help me figure out a code word for this story. Maybe something to do with leaves or something like that. Something strange about the story itself. Let's get some code word action going here. Let me see. Sleepy, you're asking how to send a super chat. I'm not sure. I think there should be a button somewhere, but I mean, if you don't figure it out, it's okay. No worries. Don't worry about it. Okay, I missed something here. Blue Silver, my depression, anxiety, etc. appear to be symptoms of something that they cannot pinpoint. As open-minded as I am, the only answers that keep remaining are non-3D earthly ones. Even then, I think the story might be even more involved and harder than my skeptic seed amount of me can digest. Anyway, Moon Goddess, hello there, my friend. Okay, foliage, that's a good one. I think we'll go with leaves just for the, what do you call it? Headlights, that's another good one. Yeah, we're going to go with headlights, Alex. All right, so let me type that in. Headlights. Foliage is a good word. Hello there, Christy Hill. I think I might have missed a couple of people coming in. Nikki Nicole, hello. And I hope you're still here after I muted myself. Hey, let's read. My man. Fitness goals lately. Let me see here. Fitness goals, start working out again. Because I don't know if you all know this, but I got my wisdom teeth removed like 2 weeks ago, all 4 of them. And but before I talk about that, Let's Read. You all know who Let's Read is. He's the man. He's my homeboy. One of the oldest friends I have on YouTube here. One of the best dudes I know on YouTube. Please subscribe to my boy Let's Read if you haven't already. He's one of the GOATs out there. And in all honesty, you probably already are subscribed to him if you know who I am. And he probably sent you to see me. So it is what it is. But if you haven't subscribed to Let's Read, make sure you do that, please. And also, let me see here. What else do we got here? Yeah. What was I going to say? Blue Silver. I just totally overlooked that. Blue Silver, man, send me an email and let me know what's going on with you. I think I don't know. Maybe we can have a chat about what you're going through. We'll see. I'll see if we can come up with a strategy or something to help you out a little bit. I'd love to do that. And I'm not a professional. I'm not a counselor or anything like that. Just, someone who is pretty good with coming up with ideas Oh my goodness. Sleepy. Love your videos. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's Read. Oh my goodness. Super chat from Let's Read. Awesome. Tarico, once again with the super chat. Thank you so much. Heart emoji back to you as well. Let's Read. I'm adding you guys to the sponsor list. Any super chat of any amount, automatic sponsor of the next 4 videos. And that's how it goes around here these days with my live streams. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. All right, I'm going to finish up the recording for this one. Yeah, I'm glad you caught the stream too. We got one story done. Yeah, Cindy, make sure you subscribe to Let's Read. And yeah, by the way, the Scarecast is another old friend of mine. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe because he showed up so early. Mad Mike, he's an old school YouTuber. Me and him worked together a long time ago. His channel is now called the Scarecast. Make sure you subscribe to him as well, because he has some crazy stories over there too. And he actually does he's got a pretty big podcast right now too. But yeah, Scarecast, Let's Read. Do the thing. All right, I'm gonna do the code word thing like that. All right, so my friends, before I go, I'm gonna leave you with this last thing. If you're listening to this part of the video, the very last moments, type the word headlights in a comment down below so I can see who the real dreamers are. Take care, my friends. All right, boom. So what I'm doing now is exporting this human glitch, woman misplaced. Unedited. All right, save that to desktop. All right, so once that's all done exporting, we'll go to the next story. So I got 2 glitch stories and 2 cryptid stories. I'll probably do glitch, cryptid. So we just did a glitch story. I'm going to do a cryptid story. You see how long this one is and plan it out accordingly. All right, so I'm going to do the longer one first, and then I'll do the shorter one later. All right, so this one's actually a couple of different stories. All right, seeing a lot of headlights in the chat there. Really nice. And you guys are murdering the super chat game tonight, man. I'll tell you right now. You all are awesome. Lots of amazing sponsors. And half of y'all sponsored the last series of videos too. So, hey, I'm so glad that y'all enjoy what I'm doing. You have no idea how much that means to me, that people sit here and watch and listen and everything. Blue Silver, make sure you send me an email. I didn't realize you sent me an email before. Go ahead and forward me that email again, so that I can, or if you have it, or send me a new email from the same email, and I'll see. I'll be able to search it and find the old one, because there's a bunch of emails that I haven't been able to actually even look at over the years. All right, let me see here. Make sure that this thing works. Always take a trip to this. Okay, that's there. All right. Fear the Great White. Hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Got a super chat right there. I appreciate you, my friend. Glad I made it while you were live, my friend. I'm glad you made it too, Fear the Great White. That's another. See, I recognize the old school dreamer name tags. Fear the Great White's been around quite a while. Cindy, are you saying Let's Read's voice is perfect for meditation? He should do one. We should get on a collab with that. Figure that out. Okay. Alex says, hey man, it's because of you that we stick around for years on end. No, I appreciate it, Alex. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Blue Silver, yeah, different screen name. That's why I don't, that sometimes I don't recognize. All right, so let's go. Next story is, I think, what is it? Two different stories? Yeah, two really bizarre cryptid-based, unknown cryptid stories. Yeah, I'm gonna hit Let's Read Up and see if we can make something happen with this meditation thing. I actually did that a while back too. Oh, you were talking about me, Cindy. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I did, I want to say I did a meditation, like a regular meditation video. Then I did one that was, I did like two normal meditation type videos and then one that was like a horror meditation video idea that I had, which I don't know. I mean, nobody really looked at it, but it was an interesting idea. It was kind of like a mental film that you're supposed to experience as you're listening, and it was horror based. And yeah, I gotta revisit that one day. Yeah, Fear the Great White. It's been around since before the first Dark Waters collab, and Dark Waters was one of the first people I collabed with too. It was Dark Waters, I think Let's Read, Mad Mike, couple people. Tony 2 Metal I collabed with a long time ago. Who else? It's a bunch of old school dudes. And dudettes. I hate that word. Forget I said that. Miss Raina V. Hello. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah. Well, I don't know why you retracted the simple hello. All right. Yeah, make sure y'all leave a like. It looks like pretty much everybody's left a like. So, hey, thank y'all for that as well. Remember, super chats, any amount, you get automatically added as a sponsor for the next 4 videos. And we're going to keep it moving with the next story. These are some pretty good ones. Yeah, Mr. Davis is a good friend of mine too, to this day. Hashtag Butter Squad. Get a little sip of water and then we'll get moving. All right. I'm going to sit up for this. What do you do if the only thing standing between you and a hulking monster is a flimsy piece of plywood? How about if you're confronted by an eldritch horror on your way home on a rainy night? Oh yeah, and also, you're 10 years old in both these scenarios. Listen to these stories and find out. Dear Mr. X, my name is Brian. Something strange and terrifying happened to my younger sister and I on an old logging trail in Oregon. I grew up in a very odd family, to put it politely. We've always been very poor, and my mother's relationship with her husband has been rocky at best. They've been separated on and off many times throughout the years. Exactly when I came into the picture is a matter of debate. And as a result, I happen to be what they call a bastard. My siblings and I have been getting bounced back and forth between one parent's custody and the other for about as long as any of us can remember. Despite the fact that my mother loved us to death, she had a hard time keeping herself out of jail, which ended up with us kids being shipped back to Dad. My dad, as you'll soon see, is a self-proclaimed hobo/nomad. We spent many of our youthful years living with him, traveling up and down the state of Oregon, hitchhiking from place to place. Eventually, my dad somehow came into possession of an old beat-up car that served as our home. 4 kids and 1 man living in a crappy sedan. Being the oldest of the bunch, I often played the role of protector when my dad wasn't around, which was pretty often. Eventually, he started running out of money and decided to move us up into the mountains of Klamath Falls. A friend of his told him about an abandoned shack out in the woods along an old logging trail. We found the shack and holed up in there. One day, my dad and my brother Dan went into town to get some supplies, leaving me with my other brother Eric and my sister Jackie. We were still just kids, so we were able to have plenty of fun while living out in the woods, despite the harsh conditions. After all, I'm pretty sure that most kids could only dream of being able to live out in the wilderness like that, albeit preferably under more pleasant circumstances. I can't pretend it was fun living with chipmunks and other nuisances constantly nibbling at our few possessions, though. It's important to note that we were in a dangerously shoddy wooden shack with paper-thin walls. It was probably about the size of a very small bedroom. It was really only worth living there because it was roomier than the car and had a decent roof on it. The door was nothing but a single piece of warped plywood. After my dad left us alone, Eric and I sat on the couch that was against the back wall of the shack, reading old magazines while Jackie played with a couple of dolls on the floor. Eric shot up when he heard something like the sound of a branch being broken off. Eric shot up when we heard the sound of something like a branch breaking off a tree. I whispered for him to stay silent as I slowly raised myself up off the dilapidated cushion, straining to listen through the light. Creaking noises of the couch's stale wooden frame as I scooted closer to the wall. That was a tongue twister right there. Again, the wall itself was really nothing more than about an inch of plywood. Eric sat anxiously, frozen solid with fright and confusion. Another snap cut through the stagnant air. This time, I could tell for sure that the sound was coming from behind the house. A third cracking noise rang out, followed immediately by a fourth, making me flinch away from the wall. More noises began to fill the air, each one louder and closer than the last. Acting instinctively to protect my siblings, I sank down to the floor, yanking Eric down with me toward Jackie. I pulled the ratty knit blanket over our heads, a super effective hiding place in the minds of children. I still remember the blue light filtering through the fabric, tinting everything under the blanket as we sat motionless, waiting for whatever was outside to pass us by. To our horror, the snapping appeared to stop just outside the wall behind us. Whatever it was close enough to grab us if it wanted to. It started walking again, seemingly tracing the borders of the shack. It stopped again in front of the door. I looked out through the blanket to see what I could. The sun's rays peered back at me through the holes in the rotted-out walls of our makeshift home. It was only then that I noticed I could no longer hear the noises of birds or other animals in the woods. The normally lush soundscape of the mountains had gone completely dark. The air felt thick and heavy. Something was standing just outside the door. After what felt like hours, the sound of something massive walking erupted again. This time, returning on the path it came from. That's actually all I remember of that day, but it remains one of the most vivid and terrifying memories I've ever experienced. Sincerely, Brian. Story number 2. Dear Mr. X, my name is Mark. I live in the UK and am currently a history teacher. I just celebrated my 29th birthday. I recently saw your video on alien encounters and I couldn't help but remember back to a rather odd event from nearly 20 years ago. I know it may seem unreal, but I remember every detail with intense clarity. It's really quite scary. The year was 1998 or 99, around late autumn. I recall the trees being almost bare, with night falling early around 6 p.m. The TV glowed with advertisements for Christmas toys. Around 8 p.m., my parents sent me to the Chippy, our local chip shop, to pick up dinner. Although I was only 10 or 11 years old, it was a normal chore for me, being only about 5 or so minutes walk away. On top of that, I lived in a very quiet neighborhood with well-lit streets. It was a chilly night. I remember I could see my breath puff out with every exhale. I was wrapped in a big, thick green coat, scarf, hat, and gloves. A funny image indeed. It was drizzling out, and there were puddles everywhere. I made it to the Chippy and was on my way back home within about 10 minutes. As I made it back to my street, a weird feeling came over me, making me feel extremely alert and on edge. It's hard to explain, but something suddenly felt off. There was a strange silence except for the light pattering of the rain all around me. The air seemed to be unusually clear and thin. No cars or passers-by. Nothing but the rain. I hurried down the street toward my house with my guard way up. A few steps later, a creeping, rapidly overwhelming sense of dread fell upon me, which made the chill in the air feel like a stinging assault on my body. I stopped dead in my tracks. With my mouth agape. I saw it from a short distance away, only about 6 houses down the road from me. I couldn't tell if it was a person or a thing. It was definitely shaped vaguely like a human, but gray, slippery looking, tall and sexless with a muscular build, a large oblong head and arms noticeably longer than its legs. It turned the corner at the end of my street and was in a full sprint, running directly at me. It was as if I knew it was there before it was even... It was as if it knew I was there before it was even in my line of sight. It suddenly burst into view. Wait a minute, that was wrong. Hold on. It was as if I knew it was there before it was even in my line of sight, and suddenly it burst into view, charging at me with terrifying speed. I was frozen with fear as I gazed upon its otherworldly creature. I was frozen with fear as I gazed upon this otherworldly creature with a barely conscious curiosity. My heart was pounding against my ribcage faster than I had ever felt it before. My mind was almost completely blank. All I could see or hear was the splashing of puddles as the unearthly creature hurled itself towards me until it was within arm's reach. The last thing I remember was staring into its emotionless face. Its large, soulless eyes weren't visible to me. Its large, soulless eyes weren't visible to me until it was too late. I could feel the seething, malicious intent of it as it came to me. It made almost no sound other than the puddles. Somehow my memory goes black after that moment. I woke up the next morning and my dad told me that I didn't get home until after 9 p.m., which I was unfortunately bollocked for. I acknowledge that it could have all been a dream, but I remember it so well. I normally try to explain away things of this nature, but it's one of the earlier, more pure memories that I have. I was only about 10 or so years old. Well, my friend, Mr. X, I'm now creeped out by my own story and about to go to bed. Totally worth it, though. Thank you again for taking an interest and listening to my story. Best regards, Mark. All right. That was one of the more visual story sets that I have come across in my time doing these things. Very interesting to me. I'm about to read a bunch of my own thoughts that I wrote up for this, and while I'm doing that, you all, if you have anything to add or if you have any observations or things that you want to talk about or discuss, go ahead and type it into the chat now, and I will do like I just did with the previous stories and add those in so that we could I'll kind of add a little subscriber, viewer, listener section like I did before. And I'm saying these things, if you guys are here the whole time, if whoever's listening the whole time and not leaving for whatever reason, if you got that much time on your hands, good on you. I appreciate you. But for the people that come in and out, I have to kind of redo certain things and let people know what's going on so that I can get the material that I need for the videos. But yeah, let's see here. Oh, Christy Hill, thank you very much. I appreciate you for the super chat, my friend. Hey, 97 Scarlet Witch, another old school dreamer. Hello there. Glad to see you. Thanks again, Christy. Thank you for bringing out the mystery in a sometimes mundane world. Yes, this world can be quite mundane when it feels like it. And the funny thing is that some people get a lot more of that weird stuff than others. Some of us are like lightning rods almost, you would say. All right. I'm gonna add your comment to the commentary at the end, Ellie. Let's see. Lori Long, thank you for your contribution. I'll add that in there. All right, so I'm going to read my comments, and while I'm doing that, feel free if you have anything to add or anything you want to say, go ahead and type it in there, and I'll port that over afterwards. I'll get a little water first. Ebola, another old school dreamer. Hello there, my friend. Very nice to see you. All right, so into my comments now. Let's see. Hello there, my friends. Mr. X Dreams here. So I have a bit of a message to share with Brian, and the same goes to anyone else this might apply to. Don't attribute to yourself any label that people give you that you don't want, especially for things like the circumstances of your birth or anything outside of your own control for that matter. You all know it's extremely difficult to get me angry, but shaming or mistreating an innocent child is one of those things that will pretty much do the trick every time. I really dislike the idea of calling a kid a bastard. It has nothing to do with the kid. Don't do it. That's all I'll say on that. So I was revamping this story and I came across some of the comments from the original video, and I wanted to read them to you so that you understand the headspace I was in at the first time I read this story. What I wrote, one of my comments was, quote, "Anyone who writes you off for a memory or experience that you may have that may be extraordinary is guilty of the crime of supreme arrogance. They will be judged by the Supreme Court of Dreamers as unfit to have an opinion, and I will sentence them to 1,000 lifetimes of banishment into the realm of dreams, where I will personally ensure their mental rehabilitation." End quote. Yeah, that kind of tickled me. I went on to say the following. Quote, "Not really, though. The thing is, you have found a place where many of us are humble enough to acknowledge that just because we don't understand something, just because it does not fit into our current view of the world or how things work, doesn't mean we can't accept your experience for what it is. What's important is your being honest with yourself. Only you know your experience. If you believe it, I have no reason not to take you at your word." End quote. So its sentiment, it was made lightheartedly, of course, but it actually still holds true today, even though I'm a very different person than I was all those years ago. It's a pretty good distillation of my thoughts on the matters of these allegedly true stories. I really see no reason to try and minimize someone's claims as long as they aren't hurting anyone else or happen to be clearly false. So, on to my commentary about the stories themselves. I often wonder about what forms of life may inhabit the far reaches of Earth's wilderness. Things that remain hidden until one day they are no longer. If you look online, you'll see a long list of animals that were once literally known as cryptids. The giant squid, for example. I'm sure some of you can name a few others. As the eldest of 4 siblings myself, I can sympathize with Brian for his duty to protect the young ones. I couldn't imagine having to take a stand against a hulking beast. Terrible enough to silence an entire mountainside, though. Now, about Mark's encounter in the rain with that grotesque, monstrous humanoid, I did my best to paint the picture of what Mark told me in his email, the terrifying assault on the senses. Seeing something so misshapen and hideous bounding toward you, and the only thing you hear is the light splashing of puddles. Hopefully I was able to control that, convey that. Hopefully I was able to convey that through my sound design as well. I'd like to think it was a dream, but I do have some questions. Mark sent me this message almost 5 years ago, but the other day I reached out to get an update and check on him as well. I asked him if his parents actually got the food from the chippy that he was sent out to retrieve, and what he remembered from before the encounter when he was told to go out that night. I'm trying to see if there's any reason to believe that this may have really occurred in the physical world rather than in his dreams. Unfortunately, I haven't heard back from him, but I'll update this video with a comment if I do. Now it's time to hear what the dreamers have to say about these 2 stories. Remember, if you want a chance to have your question or comment appear in a future video, or even to sponsor a video in this series, turn on notifications so you know when I do the live readings. All right, so let's see what else. What we might have a couple more comments here. I can go back to the webcam. All is well indeed, Ebola. Nice to see you. Okay, Cindy, you got a comment there. Thank you for that. Right now I'm just adding those comments so that I can read them and talk about them briefly at the end of the video. Yeah, Lori, it's definitely always well, not always, but often a lonely place, somewhere where it's, wouldn't be a lot of witnesses, which typically would make you a little suspicious, but hey, you never know. One never knows. Okay. Reading your comments. Blue Silver, you got a couple pretty long ones here. Gonna see if I can pick one out. Yeah, you mentioned something earlier, Blue Silver, about 3D Earth. I'm wondering what the implication is that you're saying there. Okay. All right. We've got a couple comments here. We're going to go with those. All right. So here we go. All right. So on to the dreamers. Myred Hesketh says, the world can be a strange and unusual place, but also amazing and interesting. I agree, definitely. These stories are a prime example of what some people's experiences of the world look like. Cindy S. says, my immediate thought was an alien with the second story. It's interesting, an interesting idea, because I often wonder, if an alien was to come to this planet, what type of what would be the purpose of sending an alien that's basically acts like a rabid animal? Or maybe they only act like that when they get here because they get sick or something like that, like War of the Worlds style. That's an interesting idea. Ellie says, since its arms were longer than its legs, were the arms sort of dragging along the ground? That's somehow makes the whole idea of the mental image of this creature hurling itself towards the little boy coming down the street, makes it way more terrifying if the knuckles are just bouncing and bumping up and down off the pavement as it's moving along. That sucks. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that visual in real life. Lori Long says, I find it interesting that in the second story, stories about possible ETs imply such a high degree of malice. Another interesting fold in that whole extraterrestrial concept. What's the purpose? Why would something that is so angry and so malevolent be running around on the streets? And on top of that, if Mark wasn't dreaming, what happened to him in that lost time? And trust me, old school dreamers know, I have an ET related story personally where myself and several of my family members lost time at the same time. And so I know that's something that can definitely happen. Why it happens or how it happens, I don't know. But it's not something I really put a lot of doubt in, that a person can suffer lost time in the middle of a strange encounter with something they can't really explain, because it happened to me personally and several of my family members at the same time. So Blue Silver says, I've heard of at least 2 other stories about people encountering aliens on lonely streets, both grays. One was even supposedly taking place in my old hometown, a spot I've always been intrigued by. You might have to give us some elaboration on that one, Blue Silver. But thank you all for your comments. Very interesting stories. If you are listening right now and you've got more comments or something to add or discuss about these cryptid encounters, make sure you leave a comment down below. I'd love to see what you think. As many of you know, I pretty much respond to every single comment, every single substantive comment. You know, sometimes I just throw an emoji in there if somebody gives me a thumbs up or something like that. But yeah, I love these discussions. So keep it going. All right. Okay, so now we need a code word. Code word for this one. How about puddles? That's what I'm thinking. Well, you guys look like you're having a nice conversation in here. How many votes do I have for puddles in the as the code word? Let's see here. Suggested that many people, that many different kinds of beings, entities, currently hanging out here on 3D Earth along with... Okay, so wait, when you say 3D Earth, what I'm wondering is, are you implying that there are 2-dimensional or 4-dimensional or 5-dimensional entities that are not hanging out on 3D Earth? Or, yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. 3D Earth is where everything from all across the dimensions in the universe come to work out their stuff. The same thing that people do in the bathhouse. Okay, so this is just like their Starbucks for them, for extra dimensional entities. I get it. That's an interesting idea. I haven't heard that. All right, so let me finish this one up. So before we get out of here, if you are still listening to this video, let me know by typing the word puddles in your comment down below. Be creative with it as well. That way I can know who the real dreamers are. Take care, my friends. All right. Here we go. I'm going to export that bad boy and then we will keep it moving. Just takes a few seconds and we'll be on to the next one. All right, so we got another glitch one. This glitch story you have not heard before because I recently got it from someone on Reddit. All right. And hey, don't forget, if anybody, any super chat, any amount, you send a super chat, you will be sponsoring the next 4 videos, and you'll be your name will be read out at the end of the next 4 videos. There's one more that's scheduled for next week, but the ones after that, these 4 stories that I'm reading tonight, when they come out, you'll be a sponsor. Yeah, puddles. That's a good one. I don't know. I like that. I like puddles. I wonder if after we leave this plane, I wonder if we become one of those 4th, 5th dimensional beings that get to come hang out here and play around and, you know, blow off some steam once in a while. It's an interesting idea. All right. So, I'm just going to get right into this one. And this one's pretty short. Let me see. I got two that are equally somewhat short. after this. And this looks like it's going right on time. We're doing pretty good for time right now. All right, enough waffling. Let's get right into this third story. Story number 3. Those sound effects going. Refill my water real quick. All right. Imagine you're walking with a loved one. Everything is normal, pleasant conversation, all is well. When suddenly, you turn around expecting, knowing they're right next to you, only to find that they've disappeared. Or how about this? You're minding your business, going out, going about your day, when you start hearing a conversation in your ears, people talking in a language you don't speak, but you somehow understand it anyway. When you search the topic of their conversation, your jaw drops. Listen to these stories and let me know what you think. Stay tuned for that, along with the discussion afterwards. This story came from a post from the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix. This story is based on a post from the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix by Reddit user PotatoPixie90210. The title was "My Partner Just Glitched and It's Freaking Us Out." Hi all. Let me preface this by saying that there's always been creepy stuff happening. Around me, and I have several stories of my dad's old house, which myself and my siblings all agree is extremely haunted. I also have my dead best friend visit me a couple of times, which was actually pretty nice. I've also had my dead best friend visit me a couple of times, which was actually pretty nice. So, this evening, my partner, 42-year-old male, and I, 30-year-old female, were upstairs sorting laundry when his daughter, 17, called us downstairs as dinner was ready. I was heading down the stairs, my partner right behind me. And I mean literally 2 steps behind me. He did his usual thing of tickling the back of my neck as we walked. The landing at the bottom of our stairs is wooden. You can clearly hear when someone steps onto it from the carpeted stairs. When we got to the bottom, my feet hit the floor as usual. I turned to ask him something, and he just wasn't there. I totally froze for a second, confused. I looked up at the stairs, and there he was, on the top step, pale and shaking. I asked him what just happened, and he kept repeating the same words. I don't know. I don't know. I was right behind you, and before I hit the bottom, the next step took me back upstairs. We are very, very freaked out. Didn't say anything to our girl as she is already leery of this type of stuff as it is. My partner and I are actually somewhat used to it. I'm trying to get the courage to leave my laptop recording audio overnight because there is definitely something weird happening here. Story number 2. This story is based on the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix by user. This story is based on a post on the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix by user Strawberry92. So I'm one of those people that gets in the zone, so to speak, when hyper-focusing on a project. Honestly, I think it's closer to a meditative state than anything. I have heard it described as being in the flow by artists. When this happens, my thoughts usually lose coherence and take on an almost dreamlike state. By the way, I have ADHD, if that means anything. I get hyper-fixated on art projects and the like. One day, I was hyper-focused on a task and my mind went into a sort of meditative state, like I said. I suddenly began to hear the voices of two men conversing in what I believe to be Mandarin Chinese. This has happened to me a few times. Keep in mind, I speak no more than the most basic of Mandarin phrases. Keep in mind, I speak no more than the most basic of Mandarin phrases. I've never been particularly interested in learning Chinese. What I'm saying is, I don't think I know more than I'm aware of. I really don't speak the language at all. The craziest part, though, is that somehow I understood exactly what these men were saying. The weirdest example that still makes me question if these incidents were actually more than my imagination was when I overheard two men having a conversation about a Chinese social media site for career advancement and networking, like a Chinese version of LinkedIn. The name of the site one man kept talking about was Dajie, and how the other man should join it. I remember that word because it was the focus of their conversation. Well, when I was done with my project, I Googled it, and it turns out it is a real Chinese career networking site, exactly like I heard it in my mind. What the hell? Dajie.com. You can, of course, go and visit the actual website. It's not particularly informative if you can't speak or read Chinese, though. I promise you I have no prior interest in obscure Chinese networking websites that probably work best on mainland China. And I understood their Mandarin, or possibly Cantonese, who knows, and what they were talking about. But I have no ability to actually speak the language. It's happened a few times before, when I've been intently hyper-focused. It's like I'm eavesdropping on private conversations. Another notable time was when I saw more of a scene, if you will. It was a family in China trying to get from one city to another, but the checkpoint wasn't allowing anyone through due to pandemic restrictions and lockdowns. What got me was that I remembered the words that the guard was saying. You can't go to Shenzhen, in what I assumed was Mandarin. I popped the words I remembered onto Google Translate, and lo and behold, my translation was correct. Crazy stuff. Edit. I'm glad this... Wait a second. Okay, there we go. Edit. I'm glad this Goodness gracious, y'all. Edit. I'm glad this post caught people's attention. While people are seeing it, I should mention that I had a very vivid dream about 11 years ago that my mother, alive at the time, died a year later, came to me from the beyond and told me that a meteor or an asteroid would strike Hungary in April of 2027. Based on my intuitive abilities, I have kept a somewhat open mind about this, and while I'm no prepper, per se, I plan on keeping an appropriate survival kit ready. Think of this what you will. All right, goodness gracious. I was like struggling with that one for some reason. I'm starting to dry out a little bit. I might not have hydrated enough today. Let's see here. Started buffering for the first time. That's the question about what happens leaving this plane. Oh, that's interesting, Blue Silver. Ambar Chavez, hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to get into my... Those are two more interesting stories to me. I have some... hey, Nightmare Files, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. You have a good night, man. So, yeah. A couple of these stories are... Well, one of these stories, I have a kind of a personal experience that kind of goes along the same lines, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But while I'm talking about my thoughts, let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat down below, or in the, the live chat. Goodness, excuse me, so that I can add your stuff into the mix, add your questions, comments, whatever observations that you want to add to the stories that I just told just now. And I will put those into the video later on. Hey, we've got another sponsor, Ambar Chavez. Thank you so much, my friend. You are now officially a sponsor of this video series. So I appreciate you. Keep it up, and it's a nice working out pair sticker. That's what I need to be doing. I was supposed to do a workout today, but I ended up slacking off for a long time, and I said I was going to stream, so here we are. I'm going to do one in the morning tomorrow, though, probably before breakfast. So I'll make up for it, and I will do just like that little pair is doing. All right, so tell me, yeah, that's good. I appreciate that, Ambar. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want anybody giving me their last dollar. Certainly not. Yeah, hopefully you got a couple of paychecks in since then, since last month. All right. All right. So yeah, if you guys have anything to add, go ahead and type it in the chat right now. And the workout or the stream. What are you talking about? What are you talking about there, Sans Serif? Yeah, add any comments or anything you've got. Throw that in the chat, and I'll discuss that later, and it'll actually be a part of the video. So I encourage everybody to give me their thoughts that are watching now, and then make the people who are watching in the future, make them a little jealous. All right. Hey there, my friends, StoriesforMrXDreams here. So, for the teleporting partner glitch story, when a glitch in the Matrix type event occurs, it's typically witnessed by a single person. At least when it comes to these types of stories, we know that any one person's perceptions can be misinterpreted. So we have to kind of like take any extraordinary reports with a grain of salt. However, once in a while, an unexplainable, weird event is witnessed by more than one person, like something that happens in real time in the physical realm that people can see. And I wonder, does having multiple witnesses give a little bit of extra credibility to an account, in your opinion? Tickling the back of your partner's neck as you walk down the stairs seems a bit odd. I could imagine someone trying that and causing a terrible accident with someone's reflexes. It might tickle a little bit too much. And I'd hate to be sending someone falling downstairs from me trying to tickle their neck and being cute. So it all depends on how they react to the situation. Don't try it at home, is my suggestion. Still, the inclusion of that little detail, I think, lends a little bit more credence to the idea that an anomaly may have taken place that day on the staircase. So, about the Chinese language story. I told a story a while back, and some of you may have heard about the fact that I was at home, and sometimes it happens to me outside of my home, different places, where I start hearing sounds in one ear that seem to be misplaced. It happens kind of differently every time. One time I heard a woman's voice talking and the sound of dishes being washed in a home. And one time I was at my friend's house with no TVs on, and there was no TV on, and I started hearing the sound of a TV in one of my ears. So this story about the Chinese language, eavesdropping on mysterious disembodied Chinese language speakers, it kind of takes it to a whole other level, because the whole remote listener, for lack of a better term, idea, but hearing a language that they're not consciously familiar with, it makes me wonder if perhaps along with audio, we can also pick up intent and emotion or thought throughout the connected human consciousness, which is a hypothetical thing that I like to really play with and analyze in my mind all the time. I really struggle to make sense of these kinds of things because they're so far outside of modern science and our interpretation of the world as we know it. However, it is my job to rack my brain and give you some sort of analysis. It's a rule that I impose on myself, I admit. Also, I'm really hoping that the poster was wrong about the meteor striking Hungary in April of 2027. It's pretty much exactly 6 years from now. But if that does happen, we might need to add this person to my growing inner circle of superhumans. Verified superhumans, that is. So now what I'm going to do is open up the floor to the dreamers to weigh in. Remember, if you want a chance at your question or comment showing up in a future video, or the chance to sponsor a future video, turn on your notifications so that you can catch a live reading and discussion. Alright, so let's see what you guys got. Zen 2011, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you very much. You are now, once again, I believe you sponsored the last series as well. Y'all are, I got some repeat offenders here, and y'all are awesome. I thank you very much. Who asked the question about if some of the fifth dimensional entities may be humans who have died? We call those ghosts, possibly angels and demons. Yeah, that was, I think I was the one who said that. Maybe someone else also said it in the chat there. Don't know. I didn't see anybody else mention it. Elin, hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in quite a while, little one. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I figured that ghosts would be a part of that whole scheme, the whole idea, if it was such a thing as the energy of a human being translated from the third dimension to a dimension beyond this, but still having access to this one. I would imagine that would explain ghosts and sightings of apparitions and things like that. But, you know, who knows? We may never know. Alex, you gotta stop staying up so late, man. I'll see you on Discord. You have a good night. Elin, you're in college? Oh my goodness. Time is flying, isn't it? What are you studying, Elin? I've got to know. See, I heard a male voice saying, I ain't got nothing, when I was half asleep. Whoa. Ambar, okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. All right, that's going in there. Okay, Brenda. Good, very good one. Good point there. I'll be reading that momentarily. Heard music that doesn't exist. Okay, man, it looks like a lot of people have experienced similar things to this. Wow. Okay, so we have no less than 3 people in the chat that have had a similar experience. Wow, I got my moderators on the case. Very nice, guys. Elin, you're heading into the medical field. Dual enrollment. Okay, all right, dual enrollment. I was like, man, because I know you're pretty young, Elin. So good on you though, because I did dual enrollment. I went to college when I was 15, and a lot of y'all might not know that. Yeah, dual enrollment is pretty cool. Yeah, I do need to fix my. Somebody just texted me saying I need to fix my posture. They're absolutely correct. All right. How about that? I look a little bit better. All right. Okay. Man, time flies like crazy, Elin. Congratulations. All right. I remember hearing. Okay, so we got another person, huh? Okay. Well, this is kind of similar. All right. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start reading these and finishing up this video in a second. Jose Cuevas, what's up, my friend? Anastasia, hello there. Okay, hey Anastasia, do me a favor and give me an example of something that you hear. So you might not have heard this this before. I mean, you didn't hear the story, you said, but it was basically that one of the stories that I just read was a person who was hearing a conversation happening in his ears, but it was people, it's a person I believe he lives in Hungary, and he's just hanging out doing something, focused on a task, and he starts hearing people speaking Chinese, which he does not speak, but he understands, and he was able to verify what he translated, what he understood from that conversation that he overheard just in his ears. So we were talking about kind of the mental connections between people, and you're saying that something similar happened to you. Let me know what exactly that was. Like, what did you hear in your ears that wasn't happening in the world around you? That's what I want to know. And because there's already like 3 or 4 people that have had similar experiences to this, which I wasn't expecting to have so many things like that. Moon Goddess, I'm nearly 60 and I'm not an adult. That's funny. Yeah, grandmas are great. I've got one grandma left, and she's kicking, boy. She's in great shape. Actually, she's in better shape now than she was when I was a little kid, which is really cool. Okay, so Anastasia said you hear conversations. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think man, this is a lot. We got a lot going on for this. All right. Wow, even Elin hears people. I'll throw that in there too. All right. Thanks a lot for y'all's comments and adding to this conversation. This is good stuff. All right. So, what do the dreamers have to say? Brenda Whitehead says, the author spoke about how They get hyper-focused and reach a meditative state. It made me think of how monks and such try to reach such a state of mind as they believe it unlocks abilities. That's really interesting. I didn't even read this whole comment until just now. It makes me, it reminds me of this. I had a conversation with a friend of mine recently where there's so many things that the human mind is capable of, but only as a reflex. It's only like something that we do in response to external stimuli, such as, for example, when I was a kid, I was drying off something I just watched. It was a glass pot lid, like a lid to a cooking pot, and it slipped out of my hand and I dropped it. And excuse me. And I literally saw this spider web like cracks in the glass slowly forming themselves, where before as the thing hit the ground, in the less than half a second that it would have taken for this thing to shatter into several hundred pieces, I actually saw it in slow motion. And what your comment, Brenda, reminded me of is that, you know, that is a state of perception. Maybe it's just my memory. Maybe I'm recording it at 1,000 frames per second in my mind, and I remember it so quickly that it felt like I was seeing it in slow motion at the time. But either way, imagine if we had the ability to, at will, recall things in that level of detail. I wonder if there is a way to train and meditate to unlock that. So we also had a whole bunch of people that are watching right now that actually have had similar experiences to what is described in the second story here. Hearing something that's misplaced sound that doesn't belong in your environment. Sans Serif says, I remember hearing my grandma calling me from upstairs like a month after she died. That was really weird. I could imagine that was definitely weird. Elin Garcia says, that's very interesting. I had something similar, but nothing exactly like that. I often hear people outside my door that aren't actually there. Another weird one. Ambar Chavez. I heard a male voice saying, I ain't got nothing. I was half asleep. I pulled my gun and called the cops. Good plan. If that, that could have been somebody who had just broken into your house or something, or was fooling around outside your window. And yeah, I'm glad you were able to get out of that. Nikki Nicole says, I've heard music that doesn't exist. Thought I was crazy until my friend asked if I was playing music. No one else heard it but us. Oh, wow. I'm kind of glad I barely read these before I actually read them for the recording. That's pretty crazy. For two different people to hear music. I wonder if it was the same music that you were both hearing, but music that was not being played around you. That's fascinating. Anastasia says, usually hears a random conversation, like everyday stuff, people talking in a bar or going over what they purchased. Sometimes it's even a loud argument. Wow. Ellie says, that happens to me sometimes. I'll hear someone speaking or a piece of a conversation. It's often loud and startles me, and it's usually just as I'm falling asleep. Wow. I wonder if like, maybe Ellie, for you in your case, if there's some element of your mind being more open to receiving those frequencies, for lack of a better term, when you're about to sleep. That's really cool. And Ambar, you also said that you were half asleep and you heard this disembodied voice but it was really no one there. for me, when this has happened to me, it's usually when I'm just walking around normally in, in a any given normal environment for me. So it's really, really strange stuff. But thank you all for your comments. Very interesting. So with that, we will bring this story to an end, my friends. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Oh, but before we go, don't forget, today's code word is... I don't know yet. We got to do a code word, guys. What's the code word? What do we got? Let's see. Man, I missed a bunch of stuff here. Okay, well, hey, you know what? We talked about grandmas quite a bit. How about grandma? I think that's a funny code word. Let's do that. Grandma. You might not know this, but during the live chat, we talked quite a bit about grandmas. So, if you're still listening, type the word grandma into a comment down below so I can see who the real dreamers are. Later, my friends. All right, another one. It's another one down. Let's see here. Glitch. Hearing story. I don't know which one's more interesting, the hearing one or the husband being teleported up the stairs. I mean, the teleportation one sounds more interesting, but to me the real banger was the hearing one. All right, so that's rendering, and we got one more after this. All right, and remember, I know most of you probably, whoever's going to do the super chats have probably already done it, but might have a couple. We got a few more people somehow out of nowhere, which is awesome. If I haven't said hi to you personally, put something in the chat so that I can address you by name. But remember, if you want to become a sponsor, we already got a whole bunch of sponsors for tonight's stream. Anybody who sends any super chat, any amount, even if it's $1 or whatever, you're automatically added to us as a sponsor for the next 4 videos. So your name will be read at the end of the video. It'll be you'll show up on the little scroll wheel at the end. It's pretty cool if you've seen the last few. Brenda. Wait. Awesome. Thank you very much, Brenda. I appreciate it. Thanks for reading my comment. Love hanging out with you guys. Hey, the Dreamers are some of the dopest people to hang out with. I will tell you that right now. All the old school Dreamers know that this is a place for people to just hang out, have fun, have a little community, talk, chill. Super dope. Wouldn't trade any of y'all for the world. Anastasia, I've been on your channel for a few years now. I've never been on a live stream. Thanks for doing what you do. Hey, I'm glad you made it to your first live stream. Thank you. Hey, Elin, make sure you FaceTime your grandmother or something. If you can't visit her, at least we got some cool technology nowadays. You know, we can definitely bridge the gap a little bit. Jose Cuevas said, I was left alone at home as a kid and I was jumping on the sofa when a voice said my name and told me to stop jumping. There is someone outside who needs your help, and I found a lost toddler. Whoa. Whoa. That's interesting. What the... Whoa. What was the... Jose, who was the voice? What did it sound like? That's crazy. Moon Goddess heard someone on the tundra. You were utterly alone on the tundra, and you heard someone say your name 2 different times. Very interesting. Man, Jose Cuevas, you gotta explain that a little bit more, man. That's really interesting. Prep for it. This is good. Hello there, Prep for it. Good to see you. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. I hate having people come into the chat and I don't personally acknowledge them because I don't know, it just feels rude, especially when there's only a few dozen people. I should be able to do that. All right. So, that was story number 3, y'all. What else we got here? Ambar, another super chat. You're a double sponsor, Ambar. Thank you very much. Your maternal grandma has a flip phone. Yeah. That's, you might have to upgrade her for that FaceTime action or Google Duo or whatever, something. Skype, whatever. Jose, you said it was just a male voice. You spoke to him and he said, just go outside, someone needs your help. And you didn't recognize the voice? Where's the voice coming from? Was it in your ears? Would it sound like it was coming from the room, like coming from outside of you, or was it just in your head? You know, I got to ask a lot of questions about this stuff because that's really interesting. What happened to the lost toddler as well? I'd like to know that too. Myreed Hesketh says, I've heard people say things in my mind minutes before they say it. That's interesting too. What did y'all do? What did you do with the toddler when you found a lost toddler? Were they okay? Did everything turn out well? Elin says she would low-key freak out and just call the cops. Yeah, I could see that. Imagine just jumping up and down on the couch. You know dang well you shouldn't be doing that, Jose. And then you hear a voice come out of nowhere. You probably think you're going to get in trouble, but then the voice says, hey, just go outside. There's someone who needs your help, and there's a little kid out there. You went to the neighbors, and she called 911. The police picked the kid up. Man, that's crazy. Man. Yeah, that's cool. Well, hey, I'm glad you were able to help the little kid, man. That would have been terrible for the kid to just be outside and there's some other kid inside just jumping up and down on the couch, just enjoying his life. That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good chat, man. I'm digging this. I'm digging it. All right. So, we're going to get into the last story and then I'm going to let you guys go soon after that. One more story. Hey there, Leanne. You're not too late. You're at the last quarter of this live stream. Still a chance to be a part of a future video if you want to add in your add a comment about this. Okay, so for whoever's here now, let me just double check and make sure I got that thing created. Hold on. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's the previous recording. All right, boom. So we got the last story coming up. At the end, towards the end of the story, if you have anything to add, or if you want to make any comments or questions, ask questions, or say something similar that you've gone through, or what have you, type it in towards the end of the story, and I'll give you guys another reminder to put that in. But that way, I can add your comment into the actual video later on when I do it. And that'll be, yeah. That'll be it. Michelle Pruitt. Hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah, definitely good that that Jose listened to that voice, because I'd hate to know what would happen if that kid was left alone outside. What's going to happen in the car? Okay. Yeah, Raul Sanchez. Hello there, my friend. All right, let's go. I'm gonna get into this story now. Restart the heavy rain and story mode. Story number 4. Hello, Mr. X. My name is Josh. I'm a 24-year-old male living in the Philippines. This story isn't exactly my own. It was told to me by my father some years ago. The events transpired when I was only a small child. Back then, my family lived in the back country, where everyone knew everyone. We also had lots of relatives nearby. We all lived in the same group of neighborhoods. One day, my dad was outside in the backyard, just tending to some plants and minding his own business. Suddenly, he noticed an unusually large black bird perched in an old tree. The branches of that tree hung low, so my dad got an uncomfortably detailed look at the bird. He didn't think much of it at first, but there was something that felt off about the animal. He soon noticed what it was. Rather than the normal dark, glassy orbs, the bird's eyes were a deep red. Not glowing or anything like that, but more like they were fully bloodshot. The bird sat there, staring at him, returning his ponderous gaze, just as intently as he watched it. My dad was unsettled, but soon got back to his work. Got done watering and went inside. A few hours later, it was night. Dad went back outside to do some more work in the yard. Now, the way our houses were set up, there was sort of an alleyway with a fence that separated our house from the one next door. My dad was finishing up when he caught a glimpse of something small scurrying across the alleyway, making a splash in a puddle of water. Since we had a pet turtle at the time, Dad thought that maybe the turtle got out of its tank somehow and was trying to run off. He walked over to the dark alley and, upon closer inspection, found something he didn't expect. Something he said was out of place. It seemed to be a large crab of some kind. This wasn't a common sight in my area, a crab the size of a dinner plate. The strangest part was that, even in the low light coming from the back of our house, my dad could see the crab's eyes. They were the same deep, blood-red color of the blackbird he'd seen earlier. The crab stopped in its tracks. Hold on, I need some water right quick. Getting a little parched. Forgot to refill this as well before I started. The crab stopped in its tracks and stared him down. That same intense glare from his encounter with the large bird. He quickly dropped what he was doing and went back inside the house, admittedly creeped out by yet another bizarre animal confrontation. The next day, Dad went to speak at the neighborhood. Goodness gracious, guys. The next day, Dad went to speak to the neighborhood elders about what he'd seen. They told him it was an Aswang. So, if you didn't know, stories of Aswang are all over the Philippines, especially out in rural areas. They're basically the Filipino equivalent of vampires of Western folklore. They're said to be shapeshifters who have a taste for human and animal entrails. But their most sought-after delicacy is the flesh of an unborn child. The legends have it that the Aswang would crawl around on rooftops at night, searching for pregnant women. However, when it found one, it would settle above the expectant mother. It would settle above the expectant mother as she slept, winding its freakishly long, prehensile tongue into her room by any opening it could find. Winding its freakishly long, prehensile tongue into her room by any opening it could find. It could squeeze its way into a cracked window or a hole in the roof. When it got in, it would suck the baby from her very womb. As it happened, on the day this alleged entity was seen near my home, my mother was pregnant with my little sister. My mother was pregnant with my little sister. One of the elders claimed he knew the Aswang had paid a visit to our house. I don't know how he knew this information, but he insisted that this particular Aswang wasn't trying to eat my sister. Rather, he said, it simply liked being around pregnant women because it found their aroma to be somehow intoxicating. That's super creepy. My dad said, although it was still creepy, he was a bit relieved that he wasn't dealing with a creature that wanted to harm his family. He was a bit relieved that he wasn't dealing with a creature that wanted to harm his family. My sister was born without any problems, and we never heard from that creature again as far as I know. Thanks for listening, Mr. X. Josh. All right, folks. That's a super creepy story. For me, personally, I've looked into this Aswang thing quite a bit, and actually, before I go, I'm going to share a little video that I found online with you guys. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you've got anything to say, anything to add, any comments, questions, concerns, or what have you, type them into the comments now while I'm reading type them into the live chat while I'm reading my commentary on it, and then I'll go and read these additions that you dreamers have to add here. Man, you see, my shoulders were all like tensed up for some reason during that story. Something about the idea of a thing with a long tongue slithering around and entering your home. Something like that. It just gets to me a little bit. Leanne, I got a super chat from Leanne. Thank you so much. Glad I made it for the last story. I'm glad you made it too. And you've once again joined the prestigious list of super chat sponsors, along with Jessica Bullock. Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate you. A smiling little dog. I like that dog. That's adorable. Who else we got here? Make sure y'all start saying throwing in your comments in there, and we will. Oh wow, the Yi Engineer. Do I remember you? Did you always have that same name? 'Cause I don't know. It looks familiar, but I have a feeling that you might have changed the name. You're saying it's 3 a.m. in the UK over there in England. That's really late. I hope that you're accustomed to that. I mean, that's almost as late as Alex staying up over there in Denmark. That was like, what was it, like 4 or 5 a.m. or something like that a while ago? Now, you guys, I love you guys. That's that's dedication right there. You must really either have a lot of trouble sleeping or really like hanging out with the dreamers over here. And either way, I wish you the best. Because that's really late. If I stay up to 3 o'clock, I'm messed up for about a week after that. That's bad news for me. Yeah, this is a redux of that story. Leanne. You have heard a version of it before. Let's see. Wait, Michelle's gone. All right. Hey, Michelle. Good to have you here. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much for hanging out. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna read my thing and then I'll come back and look and see if you guys had anything to add. All right. Imagine laying your head to rest each night, knowing a monster was lurking just outside your window. A monster that had a taste for the most vulnerable members of your family. I have to commend this young father for his fortitude. I did some research on Aswangs and found some very interesting information that I believe informs this story quite a bit. It's said that some of these creatures can look like normal humans during the day, that unlike vampires, they can walk in the light without trouble. The thing that piqued my interest is the fact that they can blend in perfectly with humans, which means they can interact, have friendships and conversations with people. It's also said that they typically do not harm those close to them, the people in their daytime life. Though they are overtaken by an intense need to feed on flesh at night, they'll usually, allegedly, travel very far away from their home village in order to feed, and therefore they avoid suspicion and the possibility of harming their acquaintances. So that said, I feel pretty sure that based on this story that the elder who mysteriously knew that the Aswang didn't want to eat Josh's sister, but rather liked being around the pregnant mother because of the intoxicating aroma, super, super creepy and weird. That elder either was or knew the identity of, that elder either was or probably knew the identity of the Aswang in question, or whoever was lurking around the house that night. Very interesting to think about, though. The name Aswang itself is said to be derived from the Sanskrit word asura, meaning demon. In my research, I read about 4 different types of Aswang. The Manananggal, I believe is how you call it, which means the remover in Tagalog, the language that they speak in the Philippines if you're not aware. That type of Aswang is basically a woman who appears to be normal during the day. However, when night falls, her torso detaches from her lower body and sprouts bat wings, and then she silently trolls the night skies in search of unborn fetuses, which is one of the most disturbing mental images I've ever put myself through. Imagining a normal woman, but nighttime comes and her entire upper body just detaches from the lower body, grows wings, and completely silently hunts for babies. That's insanely creepy and disgusting. Insane. So, I mean, let me know if you think that's as crazy as I think it is. So, the second type of Aswang is called the Tik-Tik, also sometimes known as the Wak-Wak. 2 totally adorable names which do not fit what it actually is. Giant humanoid crows that act as familiars to witches, so like servants or proxies for witches. This does seem a little bit similar to the one that Joshua's father described in the beginning of the story, the crow with the blood-red eyes. Apparently, this type of Aswang holds a normal-sized crow inside of its stomach for some reason. And apparently it cannot be stopped unless the smaller crow in the stomach is removed somehow. Good luck approaching a humanoid giant crow and trying to remove the regular-sized crow from its stomach. So the third type is called busaw, I believe. It resembles a human in appearance and behavior, and these tend to steal and feast upon fresh corpses, they say. They're also said to stalk cemeteries, funerals, and even car accidents, waiting for an opportunity to steal flesh. Weird. The fourth type of Aswang is called the boo-boo, which I knew a couple people called boo-boo back in the day. This is an Aswang with bloodshot eyes, another similarity to the previous encounter. So looking back at this story, I wondered if there was more than one entity watching Joshua's family that day. Obviously, this is taking into account we're suspending disbelief and looking at the story for what it actually says. The similarities between the creatures described in the story and the various types of folklore, it seemed to suggest more than one creature might have been distinct there. I suppose I'll leave the question up to you. Do you believe in the Aswang? Let's see what the dreamers have to say tonight. Remember, if you want a chance to have your question or comment show up in a future video, or even a chance to sponsor a future video with a super chat, turn on notifications so that you can catch the live reading and discussion. All right. Yeah, some of those names are like suspiciously adorable sounding. The tick tick is, and a wak wak, that's awesome. I love that. I wanna somehow integrate those words into my daily behavior, my daily vocabulary. All right, let's see. Yes, Aswang is a sort of Filipino spirit. Oh, and so a while back, I found this video on Facebook that was actually, I believe I can show it on the stream because it was, I'll just show like a piece of it or something so nobody can mess with me. I'll figure out how to do it. But it's a video of people in the Philippines. It was on a Filipino news station's Facebook. And it shows a bunch of people who believe wholeheartedly that they are watching an Aswang. Like there's an Aswang, there's a rooftop, they're videotaping the rooftop, and there's all these people shining flashlights on the roof. And the flashlights are moving back and forth, and the video is kind of grainy, so you can't really see what's going on that well. But you can, if you listen to the crowd, they all seem to be experiencing something terrifying, even though we can't really see it based on the video. I'll find a way to show that to you. And we'll talk about it a little bit before I get out of here. All right, so let's see. Let me see if you guys got any comments or anything about this story. Yeah, I haven't moved or anything, Elin. I'm probably still in the same place that, well, I don't know. I don't know if you're in Florida or not, but that's where I'm at. Good old sweaty Florida. All right, let's see. You've never heard of the Aswang? I think the first time I heard of Aswang, Ambar, was from that show, Grimm. It was a show that came on, I think, ABC or something back in the day. Great show. It was a show where there's basically human, like there's all the monsters and everything from fairy tales and like the Brothers Grimm stories and stuff like that. They were all real, and they all had the ability to assume a human form. And they were just secretly living in society among us, and they were sometimes committing crimes and doing terrible things, eating people and killing people and stuff like that. And Aswang was a part of that story. It was very, very interesting. Love that show. Like pretty much every cryptid shows up in that show somewhere or another. All right, Dark Phoenix, thank you for your comment. I'm going to add that there. And I'll read that momentarily. Elin, what about Tick Tick made you think of yourself? Is that like one of your nicknames or something? Ambar, yes, very cute and deceptively cute names. Let's see. Ooh, sans serif. That's an interesting comment right there. Add that into the mix. Jason Harris, hello there, my friend. I'm glad you like the stories and everything. Let's see. Oh, I see. You have tics due to ADHD. I mean, that's not funny, but I'm glad you're able to talk about it without feeling any kind of way, Elin. Jessica Bullock, you loved Grimm. I was waiting for a spin-off. I thought they were gonna. I wanted them to keep it going so bad. Sarah Boss, hello there, my friend. Good to see you. Love seeing new people pop up in the chat. Let's see here. Moon Goddess. Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. Are there any people from the Philippines or have Filipino heritage or ancestry or anything like that who know what it is to really culturally believe in this, or to have any folklore tales or anything like that that you've heard growing up? I'm curious about that. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I figured that's what it was. Sarah Boss. It's a cool name. Actually, never seen that before. All right, so let's see. All right, so from the Dreamer chat here, I'm not sure if I even said this already, but remember, if you want a chance at your question or comment showing up in a future video, make sure you turn on notifications to catch the live readings and discussions. And if you want, you could also sponsor a future video by leaving a super chat during one of those live streams. That's always appreciated as well. All right, let's get into the Dreamer chat here. Ambar Chavez says, those are very cute, yet deceiving names. I definitely agree. Those names, Tick Tick, Wak Wak, Boo Boo, sound like adorable. Like, you would think that, oh yeah, the Tick Tick is coming. You would think it's a giant kitten or a baby or something like that. Not something that's going to try to cut open your womb and, oh, no. Sans Serif says if they didn't exist before, through the idea of tulpas, they probably do now because of the internet. Tulpas, that's something I really want to talk about in the future. I just don't know really how I'm going to do it, because it's a fascinating idea. The idea that the human consciousness and the human mind is so powerful that if enough people believe in something or believe that something exists, that will actually bring it into existence. It's not something, it's not a belief that I really prescribe to. I don't really, obviously there's no evidence of that happening, but it's something that really fascinates me to think about. And honestly, I hope it's not real, because that would be terrible, because human beings think of some really messed up stuff, and I hope that we don't have the power to create things just by believing it. So Dark Phoenix says, when I was pregnant, my mom always told me to place a knife underneath my pillow or place a scissor underneath my bed so bad spirits wouldn't take my baby away. That's really interesting. Dark Phoenix, I wonder what your mother's heritage is and where that belief comes from. Let me know. Moon Goddess says, Moon Goddess says, I worked with some labor and delivery RNs who put knives or scissors beneath the beds of laboring patients to cut the pain. Interesting. I don't know if that's like a superstition or what. Where did that occur, Moon Goddess? I'm curious. Okay, so I don't want anybody to be mad at me about today's code word, but code word is Slurpee. If you're listening to this part of the video, let me know by working the word Slurpee into your comment. That way I know who the real dreamers are. Take care, my friends. That one is super. That's a weird one. Thank you guys for the comments and for adding to the discussion there. I'm gonna export this real quick, and then we're gonna look. Unedited. All right, so we're gonna go in and look at this video. If I can find it. Let me see here. And then I also have to find a way to make sure it doesn't show up in some kind of weird way that's going to get me in trouble. All right, I'll put that there. All right, I was hoping that nobody would get upset with that code word being Slurpee. All right, let me check this real quick. Make sure it recorded to be a large. Okay. All right. All 4 stories recorded, so this is the video. I'm pulling it up right now. Show you guys this real quick before I get out of here. All right. Who wants to see the first video that I'm going to share on this channel related to cryptids? This has never happened before, and I'm a little scared to do it, but yeah. Well, it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll be fine. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put a little. I might put. Maybe I should put some music or something on in the background, so it will give them a little bit less to complain about. Trying to layer on as much additional stuff on this as possible. All right, and hopefully it's not underwhelming for you. All right, and bear with me now, because I don't have this set up properly to do it. But okay, here we go. Here we go. Well, that's not too bad. Do this. All right, throw that here. All right. So we don't have to watch the entire 4-minute video, but this is a special treat for you guys, for you folks that are here at the very end of this stream. This way nobody feels left out or anything, like you didn't get anything. And this is not going to be in the real video when it comes out later. All right, so yeah, let me see here. Brett Learmonth, hello there, my friend. Good to see you. First bonfire of the spring. That's pretty cool. I did something like that not long ago. Okay, so I could show up to 20 seconds. You say? All right, we'll see. I believe with fair use, you can show something if it's, if you're making a commentary on it and stuff like that, which I'm going to kind of skip through it. I'm not going to show you the whole thing anyway. Yeah, I should probably take these people's names off of the thing here. Yeah. All right. So, let's play this. Hold on. I got another idea. I don't want to have it all the way down there like that. Okay, almost done. Promise. All right. Wow, that's loud. Now listen to, look at the visuals and listen to the people's voices all swell in unison. And keep in mind, if one person starts running in a certain direction and screaming, then everyone else is probably also going to do the same thing. But imagine that they really are able to see something scurrying around up there. There's people coming out with spears and knives, and looks like maybe even a couple of rifles here and there. Yeah. This can definitely, when I look at this, it could definitely be hysteria, really. I'm not going to show any more because that's like, I don't want to push my luck there. That could certainly be some form of hysteria. People just going nuts because they're expecting to see something. Someone says, "Oh my gosh, there it is," and then the next person says, "Oh yeah, I see it too," and then they all just start screaming and running in one direction and then running back the other direction. But just imagine if there's, being there, being in the moment, and seeing a glimpse of some sickly, emaciated, spindly limbed creature scurrying around on rooftops, and being there with your whole village. Everybody's ready to do battle with this abomination of nature. That's gotta be a crazy experience. I mean, I almost wish that I could have been there in that moment and see for myself what they were seeing. But unfortunately, that will not happen. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little treat. I didn't want to play too much of it. I've had this thing for like about a month on my computer, and that's the first time I actually showed it to anybody. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed that. Hey, thank you all so much once again. All the super chats, remember, super chat sponsors automatically. You're automatically a sponsor for the next 4 videos with any super chat when I do these live streams, and you all really rocked it just like you did last time. So awesome, and so appreciated for everybody who's watching and talking. So much action and love in the chat today. Super nice to see that. Especially, you know, I just pop on. My notification was just a couple hours ago. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Christy, you said it gave you the shivers. Yeah. The description gave you the shivers. Yeah, the video, yeah, it was crazy. It looks like, it definitely looks like something. They might have really seen something. I don't know. I can't really judge based on what I saw there. But that was actually on the news in the Philippines. It was from a Filipino news station. Very interesting. Yeah, so, man, coming up on almost 3 hours for this stream. Y'all really made this stream a great time for me. Thank you to everybody in attendance, everybody who stayed the whole time, everybody who came and went. Special thank you to all the super chats, the sponsors. Let me see. I'll read you all again. Ellie, Pete Hudson, Lori Long, Artie, Master Panda, Alex, Sleepy, Let's Read, Tarico, Fear the Great White, Christy Hill, Ambar Chavez, Zen 2011, Brenda, Leanne, and Jessica Bullock. Thank you all so much. Very much appreciated. And I'm gonna get out of here and go hit the shower, go to bed, because I gotta do an extra workout tomorrow, because I skipped today and I wasn't feeling it. So gotta get at it in the morning tomorrow. People can scare themselves into seeing things. That is absolutely right, Cindy. Yeah, I'll be back on in about sometime in the next maybe 3 weeks or a month. But these videos the videos from the stories I read today will be coming out every Monday. Like they're all the videos every Monday for the next couple months, probably, hopefully. The longer I do these streams, I got a lot of writing to do, but you know, hey, it is what it is. So I'll get there. I'm feeling it now. You guys are helping me be motivated by participating and, you know, interacting and stuff like that. So thank you all. Good night. And y'all stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Until next time, and great stream. Thank you all for a great stream. I'm glad you all enjoyed yourselves. And hey, y'all take care. As always, my friends, I am Mr. X, and may your nights be full of dreams. Love you guys. I'm out of here.